Yeah, so we need to see the appreciation between the different types of contracts. So here in this part of the lecture, I would like to actually explain a little bit along the way. And like I said previously, we are, the confusion are usually when it comes to reimbursable and also lump sum, whereby you have this crossover between, what we call a schedule rate contract or a BQ contract or provision sum contract. You see, so I'll explain that a little bit better here, I hope. Okay. So lump sum contract, actually, there's no by right fixed price contract is actually a lump sum contract. There is no doubt, you see. So no doubt that the contractor is going to quote based on the drawings and the technical details and all the information that are provided by the client, and they will tender or they will bid for the job, and they will give in a price that is fixed, meaning that there will be minimal adjustment. It's just that I am going to do this job for you for this price, you see. And no matter what, preferably, we would not have any changes. It is based on assumptions that the contractor has already checked all the drawings. The drawings provided are actually completed. The technical data provided are all completed before they can actually come in and say that I'm going to do the job for you or for this price, you see. So it is not much of a change allowed anymore in that sense, you see. So for fixed price contract, especially lump sum fixed price contract with there's no provision, meaning that it is really the entire scope of work is quite clear, and this will be absorbed by the contract. The cost, if there's any extra that needs to be forked out, and it is not due to really unforeseen circumstances or the extension of extra scope of work, normally the cost is there already, and the client would not actually come in and say, I'll give you more, or you can't ask for more from the contractor, you see. I mean, from the contractor, you can't ask for more anymore, you see. So the service provider just cannot go away from that particular fees that he or she has already proposed. So that is fixed price. But there are circumstances that whereby there are certain parts of work which are not clear. And when there's certain part of the work that's not clear, like filings, maybe form of special technology work or some form of specific something that is repetitive, but it is not clear whether at that point in time you could actually get the fixed quantity. So in that sense, we still can have a lump sum contract, but the quantity itself is not fixed. And when that portion of work with the quantity is not fixed, we will usually use what we call a provisional sum. And we can also call it a BQ contract, but BQ contract, mind you, we will use it more on remeasurement, a full remeasurement contract, meaning that the whole contract is actually reimbursed based on the final quantity. In this sense, in the fixed price region, we will be talking about certain portion of the work. And if you don't have a quantity at all, then you only fix the rate for that certain portion, then those are called schedule or rates contract. There's a difference here between BQ and schedule rates. Schedule rate is just rates. BQ is rates plus quantity. So if you have a contract that is fixed, like maybe 60-70%, and there's about 30% that is provisional lump sum or provisional BQ, then that is the part that they will put in the provisional quantity. See, the rate is fixed, but the provisional quantity is there. And those are called provisional lump sum. So they will put in maybe like 500 as an estimate, 500 points as the estimate. But when you need to do remeasurement later, it may be more than that, you see. So it's only for that portion of the work. But if you don't have that quantity, you don't even have that estimated quantity, meaning that portion is really like an unknown, then you only have a rate for it. And if we have a rate for it, it's called a schedule of rates. But again, if we are in that lump sum fixed price region, then that is not the entire work that is actually in that region. So for fixed price, it's fully fixed price. There's always some arguments going on here. Like, let's say the contractor has something more being brought to site. at the end of the day, when you leave the site, who does this material belongs to, or who does this work belongs to, you see? So that is always subjected to arguments. But I think reasonably we say that, depending on the original drawings, if it's like the contractor own fault that they didn't do the right estimates, then they have to absorb the cost. If it's the fact that the client actually, the drawing actually is not right and it went over a lot over, then the client has to pay for it. I think that is not argue. I mean, that is non-arguable here in that sense, lah. Then, but there's some people who try to argue for it as well. And if let's say the contractor, if the drawing says 1,000 pieces of pipe, and then you bring in 1,020 pieces of pipe, and who does this 20 pieces belongs to? The contractor can say that it belongs to them. The client can say, I pay for it. You bring it to site, I pay for it. So, well, who is being unreasonable here? We really have to see at the end of the day what was actually stated in the original scope of work. We can decide on who owns the final ownership of the particular item, you see. So, but always both sides will try to argue, both sides will try to gain some advantage. That is quite common, you see. As engineers, a lot of time, our job is to mediate between these two people, and then trying to find a middle way of some sort, okay, for them. Yeah, but of course, everything has to be reasonable. So again, if we say schedule a rate of provisional sum contract is under lump sum, is under the fixed price, well, we have to be very clear that it has to be not entire contract that is lump sum, not entire contract that is remeasurement, okay? So we need to be careful with this definition, honestly speaking, okay? And I hope you understand this definition. It's really like some textbooks will say that, provisional lump sum schedule rate contracts are actually lump sum, you see, so then some say that it's reimbursable. But I think we need to find a fixing point here that everybody understands, and that one to me is depending on the portion. If the entire work is actually BQ contract, then it is a reimbursable contract. If it's partially, then we will still fix it, call it as a lump sum or fixed price or some sort of provisional lump sum schedule rate contract. Okay, and variable fixed price contract, meaning that there will be some rates that may be variable. See that will be adjusted as you go along, and they will client will reimburse accordingly, according to the latest market rate. And there are contracts that are like that. Some contract actually lasted for a long time, like 4 or 5 years. And you have that, you may have fixed price, but that variation can be in the rate, you see. So for the other part that I've spoken about, is the rate is fixed, but quantity is not fixed. But now we will say that, the rate is not fixed. That's quantity is fixed, it can still also not be fixed, but the rate is definitely not. Some part of the contract whereby prices are not fixed. And as you go along, they will, go for variation. I wouldn't use the word variation. They will go for the latest rate. You can fluctuate the rate, especially when it deals with foreign exchange, and then you deal with some sort of material or labor or something like that, some technology transfer, as long as it's actually the contract is actually a long contract, So when it's a long period, then we may have a variable fixed price contract. Okay, so the advantages and disadvantages of lump sum contract also you have to know. Well, normally lump sum is very competitive because everybody has the same information, so you're trying to beat for the job. And with lump sum, the design professions can actually advise the client a little bit more. There's price certainties, you don't really get to move away from too much of what you planned for originally. Okay, and the bad things obviously is it can be difficult. You cannot start the job unless your design is complete, because the pricing will not be complete. The level of completion that is needed is actually good. So that will take a longer period to execute, longer period to start and go into the contract. That would be quite common reason why we don't want to use lump sum, especially if the drawings are not complete, the design is not complete, and if there may be also disputes and arguments, say previously, over variations, over payment certificates, and changes in designs and changes in clients' requirements.